12s, stop everything. Lumen and Field just erupted with breaking news. A 38-4 blowout victory that sent a shockwave through the NFC. But the real number you need to know isn't 38, it's 17. One quarterback just tied a legendary franchise record. Another team's coach is probably getting fired this morning because of what Seattle did. And yet, one devastating injury update just deflated the entire celebration. Here's the first payoff. Sam Darnold just completed 17 consecutive passes, tying a Seahawks record held by the legend Warren Moon. This offense is clicking. If you create earthquakes when this team plays, smash that like button right now and let the Forers hear you. We're diving straight into the performance that proves Sam Darnold is the franchise. Stay locked. This wasn't just a good game from Sam Darnold. It was an unstoppable performance. We knew the Seahawks were 5-2. We knew they were in the playoff hunt, but the league was still whispering, is Darnold for real? Can this offense truly take over a game? On Sunday Night Football, in front of the entire nation, Darnold delivered an answer that echoed from Lumen Field all the way to the East Coast. Let's look at the numbers because they are staggering. 21 completions on only 24 attempts, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns. Yes, there was one interception, but it was a footnote on an absolute masterpiece. The game was put away by halftime. Seattle went into the locker room leading 31-7. The second half was just a formality, but the history that happened mid-aim. Sam Darnold completed 17 consecutive passes. Let that sink in, 17 in a row. According to ESPN Insights, that ties the all-time franchise record for most consecutive completions. A record held by Hall of Famer Warren Moon. This is the ceiling everyone talked about when Darnold was drafted. We are seeing it realized in Seattle under Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak. And the entire offense fed off his energy. Jackson Smith-Jigba announced his arrival as a true number one threat. 8 receptions, 129 yards. He was dominant. He looked like the best player on the field, and he even added 11 yards on the ground. But look at the distribution. This wasn't a one-man show. Torrey Horton for catches, 48 yards to touchdowns. Elijah Arroyo to catches, 29 yards, 1 touchdown. A.J. Barner, 3 catches, 24 yards, and the dagger, Cody White, catching a single pass for a 60-yard touchdown. This is what a complete offensive victory looks like. 5 different players with multiple catches. Explosive plays, red zone efficiency, and a quarterback playing so clean he's etching his name next to franchise legends. This performance just changed the ceiling for the 2025 Seattle Seahawks. Do you believe this was JSN's official breakout game as the WR1? Let me know in the comments below. And if you believe this offense is now the most dangerous in the division, hit that like. But the impact of this win goes far beyond the stats. This beatdown was so total, so embarrassing for the Commanders, that the fallout in Washington has already begun. Seattle didn't just win a game, they likely just ended a coach's career. The fallout from this 38-4 beatdown was immediate. This wasn't just a loss for Washington, it was an embarrassment. And the Seahawks may have just put the final nail in the coffin of Commander Defensive Coordinator Joe Witt Jr. Let's be clear, this was a schematic dismantling. Seattle walked into this game knowing Washington's defense was broken. They were 29th in the league in yards allowed per play, 29th in passer rating allowed, and 23rd against the run. They were vulnerable everywhere. Why? Because Joe W. Jr. insists on running a press coverage scheme when he simply does not have the personnel to do it. A smart coach adapts to his players. Witt doubles down on a failing system. Sam Darnold and Clint Kubiak saw this on tape all week. They knew Washington's corners couldn't handle JSN or Horton at the line, and they exploited it from the first snap. 31 points in the first half isn't just good offense, it's a complete defensive collapse. The Seahawks exposed with so badly that Washington head coach Dan Quinn has to be considering a change right now. Seattle essentially did the Commanders a favor by ending this experiment. If Mike McDonald wanted to score 50, they probably could have. But 12s, we need to have a serious conversation because this game, as dominant as it was, also put a giant spotlight on our own biggest weakness. We cannot and should not expect Sam Darnold to tie Hall of Fame records every Sunday to win. Championship football requires balance, and right now, the Seattle Seahawks cannot run the football effectively. The stats don't lie. Kenneth Walker III had 11 carries for 42 yards. Zach Charbonnet had 8 carries for 25 yards. That is not a sustainable winning formula. We are relying entirely on the passing game to carry this team, and that is a dangerous way to live in the NFL. It worked against a historically bad Commanders defense. It will not work against the 49ers or the Eagles in January. Clint Kubiak is doing a great job overall. The running backs are talented, but the fit is not there. Something is broken in the run game. What do you think is the biggest reason the run game is failing? Is it the O-line, the scheme, or are the backs not hitting the holes? Drop your diagnosis in the comments. This is a problem that needs to be fixed. But suddenly, it's not even the biggest problem Mike McDonald is facing today, because the joy of this blowout was instantly deflated by one moment on the sideline. The win came at a terrible, terrible cost. The celebration for the 38-4 victory was instantly deflated. While the offense was tying records, the entire mood of the team shifted after one play. Midway through the game, linebacker Ernest Jones went down with a knee injury. He was ruled out almost immediately. But the sight on the sideline is what has the 12s terrified. Jones was seen with a white towel draped over his head, an image that almost always means the player fears the injury is serious. This isn't just losing another player, this is losing the brain of the entire defense. Ernest Jones is the green dot. He is the quarterback of Mike McDonald's defense. He is responsible for relaying every play call, making adjustments at the line, and getting everyone aligned. Losing him is a potential catastrophe, and the timing is brutal. This defense was already bending, surviving without starters Devon Witherspoon and Julian Love. The depth in the secondary held up, but the depth at inside linebacker is far, far more questionable. Now, you have to wonder if the defensive communication is going to completely fall apart. Drake Thomas has stepped up and played well opposite Jones, and Tyrus Knight has starting experience from last year, so he knows the scheme. But neither of them is Ernest Jones. Neither of them wears the green dot. You cannot easily replace that kind of leadership and responsibility, and we all know Mike McDonald is not going to give us any details. We will have to wait for the test on Monday to know the official timeline, but knee injuries are never minor, and the player's reaction tells you everything you need to know. And here's the kicker: the schedule offers zero relief. The bye week was last week in Week 8. The Seahawks now play every single Sunday until Week 15 before a Thursday night game in Week 16. There is no time to rest. There is no time to recover. If this is a long-term injury, the Seahawks defense is in critical condition. How worried are you about the defense surviving without Jones on a scale of 1 to 10? Be honest in the comments. This single injury changes the entire outlook of the season. The Seahawks just put the NFL on notice, but they might have lost the one player they truly could not afford to lose. This dominant win suddenly feels very, very hollow. 3 stories, 1 complicated victory. This is the duality of the 2025 Seattle Seahawks. We have an offense that just proved it is explosive enough to tie Hall of Fame records, led by a Sam Darnold who is finally realizing his potential. We have a defense so aggressive and well-schemed that it's getting rival coaches fired. This team just announced itself as a legitimate Super Bowl contender. This 38-4 win wasn't a fluke. It was a warning shot fired across the bow of the entire NFC. The 12s are not just a loud fan base. We are the support for a team that can beat anyone. But this win also exposed the cracks in the armor. This team is not perfect, far from it. We are a potential giant walking on a tight rope. The run game is still broken. An offense cannot survive in January on the arm of its quarterback alone, no matter how good Sam Darnold looked against the bad defense. And now the defense has lost its leader, its communicator, its green dot, Ernest Jones 4. This team is talented, but it is now also vulnerable. The rest of the NFC West, especially the foreigners, watched this game. They saw the offense explode, but they also saw the run game sputter, and they see the blood in the water with the Jones injury. The path to the division title just got exponentially harder. This is the moment of truth from Mike McDonald. Here is what I need from the 12s right now. 1. Smash that LE button if you believe, despite the injury, that this team is still winning the NFC West TWW. Drop a comment with your single biggest concern after this game. Is it the run game or is it the Jones injury? I need to know what the 12s are thinking. 3. And this is the most important, subscribe to this channel. We are tracking the fallout from this injury and the trade deadline rumors every single day, and you need to be subscribed because here is where we stand. The first report on Ernest Jones's MRI is expected in the next 24 hours. That news will define the rest of our season.